To put it mildly, hip-hop artist Kendrick Lamar has had a pretty good year. As USA Today February 3rd, 2025 articulates, beyond Lamar's recent 5 Grammy wins, solidifying him as one of the most decorated rap artists in the show's history, only a week prior to a revolutionary Super Bowl halftime performance, it's clear Lamar's diss track battle with Drake solidly centered him in the pop culture spotlight. From March 29th to May 12th, 2024, Kendrick Lamar and Drake traded lyrical blows 9 times, with The Atlantic, GQ, NBC, New York Times, New Yorker, NPR, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, and even my own father, each declaring Kendrick the undisputed winner. Although entertaining in its conflict, The Atlantic on May 8th notes, the Kendrick-Drake beef rhetorically evolved, as it escalated from, who's the greatest rapper, to, which of these men is worse to women and children? Considering NBC on May 4th titled 2024, the year of the diss track, we must ask, how did Kendrick Lamar employ sophist rhetorical strategies to defeat Drake in their 2024 diss track battle? To answer, we will use Wendy Ramirez's Hip Hop as a Modern Sophistic Practice, published in DePaul University's 2017 Creating Knowledge Journal. This model proves appropriate because it explores how diss tracks embody sophistic practices while functioning in a modern, mediated culture. So, turn up your headphones as we first analyze Ramirez's model, apply it to the Kendrick-Drake diss track feud, and discuss its implications to a battle that, according to The Hill on May 10, 2024, reminds us of the power of communication through music and why hip-hop is important. Ramirez notes, in ancient Greek politics, sophists relied on persuasive, but often deceptive, emotionally charged, and stylistically powerful rhetoric to shape public opinion. Diss tracks in hip-hop function as modern sophism through 3 tenets: verbal performance, kairos, and double tongues. First, verbal performance. Ramirez explains, rap battles depend on the rhythm, flow, and word choice to sway public opinion of an opponent. The artist with the heaviest hitting bars bolsters perceptions of musical dominance. Second, kairos. Ramirez describes kairos as the opportune moment, and reflected in music battles as the response song's release date. When beefing with an opponent, an artist must weigh a less developed, immediate response against a less timely, well-crafted performance to gain the upper hand. Finally, double tongues. Ramirez explains, hip-hop artists, as entertainers, often misrepresent the truth, or even invent lies to win audiences. She asserts how artists exaggerate myths, events, or conspiracies of their opponent to obtain bragging rights, fans, or profits. After exploring Ramirez's model, we can apply it to the diss track battle between Kendrick and Drake. First, verbal performance. GQ on September 8, 2024 explains, Kendrick Lamar's 6-minute-long Euphoria was the more straightforward diss track, in the classic mold, unrestrained bars, disdain, and unconcerned with replay value. Although the song prioritizes direct hits towards Drake, XXL Magazine on April 30th, 2024 recognizes Lamar's musical artistry with a calm, melodic dissection of Drake in Euphoria's first part, juxtaposed with a powerful attack mode beat switch in part 2. Meanwhile, Drake's best response track, Family Matters, was widely dismissed as unfocused, since the strongest punchlines were misdirected at other hip-hop icons. And as The Ringer, on May 9th reveals, contained a rehash of old accusations toward Kendrick. Lamar's verbal performance resonated outside the context of the rap battle, fulfilling our first tenet. Second, kairos. The precision timing in Kendrick's responses kept him constantly 2 steps ahead of Drake. Billboard, on May 4, 2024 explains, Kendrick returned fire with his release of Meet the Grams mere minutes after Drake's release of his Family Matters. Kendrick's strategic release allowed him to control the narrative and severely weaken Drake's momentum. The previously cited GQ continues, the coupled release of Not Like Us after Meet the Grams applied back-to-back pressure on Drake, suffocating all of the oxygen out of Family Matters before it even had the chance to breathe, fulfilling our second tenet. Finally, double tongues. Kendrick utilized his Pulitzer Prize-winning wordplay to exaggerate myths and facts surrounding Drake to sway audiences. A lyrical breakdown of Meet the Grams published by Genius on May 2024 reveals Kendrick insinuated Drake hid and abandoned a daughter. Although no evidence exists of Drake's rumored daughter, Kendrick fosters doubt by building upon shortcomings of Drake's past. Notably, his refusal to publicly acknowledge his son, Adonis Graham, until 2017. The aforementioned figure summarizes. Drake was trying to disgrace Kendrick with uncharacteristic revelations, while Kendrick was trying to disgrace Drake with characteristic revelations. Kendrick's use of double-tongued exaggerations focused on a narrative people were already inclined to believe, fulfilling our final tenet. After applying Ramirez's model to this historical pop culture event, we can return to our research question. How did Kendrick Lamar employ sophist, rhetorical strategies to defeat Drake in their 2024 diss track battle? Much like the sophists of ancient Greece, Kendrick Lamar realized truth is subjective, and reality depends on how well one argues their position. However, Kendrick's rhetorical success leads us to consider two implications: the legitimization of diss tracks, and rap battles' true losers. First, the Kendrick-Drake beef legitimized diss track battles for a wider public, for good and ill. The Root on February 2nd, 2025 announced, Kendrick Lamar is not like us as the first diss track ever to win a Grammy. While culturally momentous for this art form's recognition, diss tracks also regularly employ misogyny, criminal accusations, and personal scandals as rhetorical weapons. Rolling Stone on May 14, 2024 addresses these concerns by noting, not like us's double entendre, A minor! Profits off sensitive and serious accusations of abuse against children. Kendrick intended his song to be an anthem for people sharing the Black American experience. But his diss track domination may instead reinforce darker trends in hip-hop, further relegating women and children to fodder for the normalization of toxic masculinity and hypermasculine posturing. Finally, Drake may not be the only loser in this rap battle. As diss tracks become legitimized, we're more willing to adopt and seek sophistic rhetoric elsewhere. The San Francisco Chronicle on September 11, 2024 noted, the presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump was widely viewed, but not for its policy debate, but as a spectator sport for aggressive rivals in a personal war. Likewise, the New York Times on October 2nd, 2024 cites how mainstream media overwhelmingly referred to the vice president debate between Tim Walz and J.D. Vance as dull for its civility. Diss track rhetoric often prioritizes insults, humiliation, and personal destruction rather than engaging in meaningful discussion or critique. As political debates and online discussions increasingly mimic clapbacks and roast battles, we may move even closer to the normalization of personal attacks over constructive debate. Today, we examined Ramirez's model, applied it to the Kendrick-Drake diss track battle, and drew implications. For sophists, persuasion was an art form, more than a means to convey truth. Diss tracks are the new sophism. Success isn't determined by who is right, but who sways the audience into supporting the most compelling story.